If you're watching this video, then you've been thinking about getting back together with your ex. You're probably wondering if it's a good idea and how you can make it happen. But above all else, you're probably asking, is it even possible? Can you get your ex back? And if you can you stay together and actually build a better relationship? Well, this is the first question you should be asking before you decide to really take on any challenge. Can it be done? Well, I'm here to tell you that in most cases, it is possible to get back together with an ex, despite what some people might tell you. So in this video, I'll dive deeper into why you and your ex are drawn together, how to know if getting back together is a good idea, and how to make it happen, if that of course is what you want. But first, I need you to know that it is possible to have a happy life with your ex, even if it seems hopeless right now. As a breakup coach for almost 14 years now, I've seen it happen thousands of times. And while every situation is obviously different, so many people were able to get a second chance, even though their particular situations actually seemed hopeless at the time. And honestly, it really doesn't matter if you cheated, if you lied, if your ex hates your guts. It may very well still be possible to win them back if you're able to make a plan and actually execute it effectively. Now, you probably don't believe me, so let's look at the facts. A 2013 Kansas State University study found that 50% of couples get back together after breaking up. Now, this is a shocking number to a lot of people, but they forget one thing. People don't want to admit this stuff because they want their relationship to look perfect from the outside. And obviously, I don't blame them either. No relationship is perfect, but we all try to make them appear that way. It's because, love and relationships they're so important in our world, and we really don't want the people around us to second guess the person that we've chosen to spend our lives with. But the truth is that staying together long term really is more difficult than ever. If you just look at the divorce rates around the world, they've been rising steadily for years now. So you really need to understand that breaking up and getting back together is a normal and natural part of relationships in the modern age. Now, before we go on, I just want to quickly talk about my own experience with this. So here's a few testimonials from some of the people that I've helped with my videos here on YouTube, with my X Factor program, or through my personal one-on-one coaching. Now, Tammy says, I bought your X Factor program on how to get your ex back and followed all your rules. We were broken up for 9 months before he sent me an apology letter, and we've been back together for almost 2 years now. We are stronger than ever now. Thank you for all your help and your words of wisdom. And then another one from Stella says, it was spring when I signed up for your program and your private coaching. And I just wanted to let you know that Ron and I have been back together for 7 months now, and I've never been happier. We are on the right track, and we're both in love and happy. And one final one here from Sheldon. He says, I used every tip that Brad said in his videos, and I can honestly say I wouldn't have my girlfriend back if I hadn't watched these videos. We are so much happier than ever. So, shameless self-promotion aside, here's some concrete evidence that you actually can get your ex back and be even happier than you were before. It happens, honestly, every single day. And really, I have so many more examples of this that I can share here, and they are all 100% real. In fact, you can just look at the comments on some of my older YouTube videos, and you'll see plenty of similar success stories in the comments there. But, what if your relationship is just too broken? Doesn't breaking up just highlight all the problems in the relationship? Well, not really, because breaking up can actually be a catalyst to help you build a more successful relationship than the one you had before. I know breaking up sucks. I won't deny that. It's super painful and destabilizing. It makes you feel bad about yourself and about your relationship. But I honestly believe that it can actually help your relationship in the long run. Now, I'm sure that sounds crazy. How can breaking up help your relationship? But stay with me here. If you and your ex actually made the decision to end the relationship, either one of you, there are clearly some major issues that are coming between the two of you. And on top of that, a temporary breakup can actually give you both some clarity on the relationship. It's easy to take somebody for granted if you've been together for a long time. As time passes, they sort of start to fade into the background of your life, and all the good things that they bring just become commonplace. At the same time, all the mistakes that they make, because they are more rare than the good stuff, those stand out and they drive you crazy. When you have some time apart, it's very easy to see what you're missing. It's like when you lose, something important to you, only worse. Think about it. There's so much talk these days about the dangers of social media, and obviously this has led to a lot of people saying that they hate smartphones. But have you ever actually lost your phone? Because when you do, you can see immediately how much you actually rely on it for so many parts of your everyday life. Of course, there are a couple of benefits to having no phone, but that's always going to be, overshadowed by the downsides. And that's really what a breakup is like. It makes you realize what you were taking for granted all along. And when you do get back together, you're going to be closer than ever before because you'll appreciate what you lost when this person walked out of your life. But what about that old saying, they're your ex for a reason? As a breakup coach, I'm sure it's not a surprise to you to say when I say that I hate it when people say this. It's just so dismissive. But there is a kernel of truth in there. And what I mean is that, they are your ex for a reason. There is a reason that you broke up. And you can't just dismiss it as a momentary lapse in judgment by one or both of you. You do need to suss out, what exactly went wrong and led to the breakup. Of course, there is often, a clear issue that caused you or your ex to decide to end the relationship in the moment. But that really is never the full picture of what really happened. Even in extreme cases where, cheating was involved, more often than not, there are reasons that one person made this huge mistake of cheating. Now, that's not to excuse cheating. It is one of the worst betrayals imaginable. But even though it's never justified, you do still have to address the root cause, or you're just going to end up in the same place again. So now, let's move on and let's talk about why you and your ex are drawn to be together. Now, some of this stuff might seem obvious, but it's important to keep it in mind throughout the whole process. Remember, even though you two, they're not together in the moment, that doesn't mean that they hate you or they wish anything bad on you. In fact, if they are angry at you right now, it's only because they care so much about you. If they didn't have a strong connection to you before the breakup, then they really wouldn't care about you one way or another. And the fact that they care about you is the number one reason that the two of you are going to get back together. Yes, your ex does still care about you. Right now, wherever they are, there's a big part of them that just wants to reach out and talk to you. Obviously, they are fighting this instinct for a variety of reasons, but it is there and it is powerful. And another reason that your ex is going to be drawn to you is that you still have unfinished business. Significant relationships are never truly over. They just change. So of course, the people from your distant past are no longer a part of your life, but you probably do still think about them on occasion. And while your feelings for them have faded, you probably still get a twinge of emotion when you do think about them from time to time. And that's because you can't erase a relationship as much as you might like to. If you spent a good chunk of time loving somebody, then it's a part of your story. And this shared story is going to draw your ex back to you. Because in so many cases, it can feel like the story hasn't had its true ending yet. They're going to come back simply to see what happens next. And of course, you also need to recognize that you both invested a lot in your relationship. Romantic relationships, they're not just about living in the moment. They're also an investment for the future. If you lived together, you had a dog, you met each other's families, made vacation plans, these are all investments in the future. Even just becoming exclusive with somebody is an investment of time and emotion. And now that you've broken up, it can feel like you just went bust in the emotional stock market. But there is a way to recover those losses. Of course, that is by reconnecting with your ex and starting over. And this is another factor that will make your ex want you back. Now, another less than healthy reason that your ex will be drawn back to you is that they truly just don't want to see you with anyone else. And this is why jealousy is such a powerful motivator for your ex. If your ex, if they find out that you're dating again right now, that might even be enough just to make them reach out to you and try to win you back. That's how bad it feels when your ex is with somebody new. And another factor is that you obviously had physical chemistry together. Some people really downplay the role of physicality in relationships. And I'm not just talking about sex here, although sex is a huge factor as well. I'm just saying that, physically connecting with another person, whether that means hugging, kissing, sex, or even just looking at one another or sharing the same space, it creates a powerful bond that can outlast really almost any breakup. And this is one of the reasons why being friends with your ex can be so messy. While your mind knows that things are over, your body may take a lot longer to realize this, if it ever truly does. Study after study has shown that the release of oxytocin during physical touch has a very powerful bonding effect for couples. This not only bonds us together, it smooths out issues and it helps us communicate in a powerful ways. And having that ongoing connection with your ex is going to draw you back together over time. Now, that's not to say that sleeping with your ex is a good idea if you do want them back. The truth is there's really a lot of factors going into that decision, so I'd recommend you take a breath before jumping back into bed with your ex. If you want to know whether you should sleep with them in order to get them back, check out the past video that I made on that topic in the pop-up here or in the description below once this one's over. But while sex is a bit complicated, other types of physical touch are much less so. So do your best to connect with your ex physically, at least if the vibe is right. Obviously you can't force this or you risk scaring them off. But if you and your ex can connect in this way, flirting and touch, it's going to make powerful feelings come flooding back to them. All right, so those are just a few reasons that your ex will be drawn back to you. They might not all ring true for you, but it's additive. So that means, they won't come back to you just for the sex alone. But if they miss you physically and they're jealous to see you with somebody new and they feel that you have unfinished business, then they're really going to find it hard to stay away from you for much longer. It's like a pressure that's building and the only release for your ex is you. Now, if you're wondering if any of these apply to you, or if you still just have a chance with your ex at all, I suggest you head over to breakupbrad.com/quiz and take 5 minutes to use my free quiz tool. Basically, I just put together a series of simple questions that will tell you what your chances are with your ex. Try it out. It literally gives you a score out of 100 on whether or not you're actually going to be able to get them back, and it's completely free, like I said. Again, you can take that right now in less than 5 minutes at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Now, the question here becomes, is getting back together with your ex a good idea? And unsurprisingly, the answer obviously depends on you and your particular relationship. I wish I could be more concrete here, but I don't know you and I don't know your story. But I will say this, true love is very hard to find. It's valuable. I'd never tell anyone to just throw it away without at least fighting for it a bit. Now, of course, if you've pushed and your ex has gotten a restraining order against you, then obviously now is the time to stop and move on with your life. And the other reason not to reconnect with your ex is if your heart just isn't in it. You need to be willing to put in the work to win them back. It's a simple process, but it's never going to be easy. I can tell you how to do it, but you have to take the first step, and you really do need to be motivated. But if you are here watching this video right now, I'd say that you've shown that you are interested in getting that second chance for yourself, and that is a good sign that this will work out the way that you want it to. Now, let's talk about how to make this happen for you. I will say that if you want a full, complete guide on how to exactly to reconnect with your ex, then you should go to breakupbrad.com and pick up a copy of my X Factor program, which I've put together based on my 15 years as a breakup coach. It gives you a very simple roadmap to follow in order to win back your ex, and it's packed full of tips and tricks that make the whole process pain-free, and it's all completely proven. I've got over 130,000 success stories. Again, you can pick up your copy and get started today at breakupbrad.com/buy. Obviously, I'm not going to lay out the whole plan here, but I will just give you a couple of pitfalls that you should avoid if you are hoping to reconnect with your ex. These are very common mistakes that can easily ruin your chances of winning them back without you ever realizing it. So first off, don't be friends with your ex if you do want them back. It's an easy trap to fall into. You think, I want to be closer to them, but they're not going to take me back right now. So if I just hang around and be friends with them, then that gets me closer to winning them back for real. But the problem is that being friends with your ex just doesn't work. It actually helps them to get over you by reframing the relationship. Now they don't have to deal with losing you because you're still there. And the more time you spend as just their friend, the more they look at you as a friend rather than a partner. So just don't do it. Next, this might be obvious to some of you, but don't pester your ex with messages or phone calls. I know it's hard to resist. You want your ex back so much, so you reach out to them as much as possible to try to rebuild the bond. But if you take this route, I promise you're only going to scare them off. Remember that your ex is confused and has mixed emotions right now. They do want you still, but they also want you to leave them alone. So if you push too hard, they're going to be put up against a wall and they're going to be gone for good. And another mistake is actually putting pressure on your ex to make a decision. So any big conversations about the future and about the state of your relationship are a big mistake right now. Again, if you rush your ex when they're not sure, they're going to say no almost every time. I mean, think about it like buying a car. Say you're on a fence and you want to think about it. And now the salesman says, you need to decide right now, yes or no. Well, of course, that's going to set off alarm bells and you're going to say no. And this is why car salesmen don't do this. And finally, don't be your ex's backup plan. This one's really important. I know that you want to leave the door open because you want them back so badly. You want them to know that you're there for them no matter what. But this looks incredibly desperate to your ex. It shows them that you don't have any other prospects, and so it makes you seem less valuable than they thought you were. So really, stay confident and keep your head held high. All right, guys, that just about does it for this video. Hopefully you now know that it is most likely possible to get your ex back and why it's possible. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you again in my next video.